everybody, welcome. Now, as always, as I bring to you a new topic for your consideration, a topic that will, tantalize you, one that will leave you thinking, one that will lead you, Gaiya hopes, into several different corridors of thought, of exploration, corridors of the mind and in reality, as we will explore. For in fact, that is the very subject for today. Reality, virtual reality, real and imagined reality, wonder and wonderful reality. And first, although I will supply you with many answers, I will ask you a question. Tell me, are you real? How do you know you are real? How do you know that you are not a virtual being? How do you know that you are not making all of your decisions, all of your movements at the direction of another being? Are you certain that you are not in a virtual playland by which another is guiding you, deciding what will be your next challenge, what you will learn next, what you will eat next? Well, that is our topic for today then. How do you know you are real? What if you are? What if you are not? What choices do you have either way? So we begin then. Every world to some degree is a virtual world. Every world and every being to some degree is virtual. You see, a virtual being is simply one that inhabits a certain world and interacts within that world. It is an environment. And in that environment, a being takes a form. Now, in your playlands, these forms today are called avatars. That is an interesting and appropriate name, for in some ways it also means enlightened one or enlightened one in the making, or adventurer, or discoverer, or truth seeker. You see, all of these terms apply quite nicely. So the avatar then becomes the representation or the icon, the iconic thing, the iconic being of another being that wishes to represent itself in a certain world, but for one reason or another cannot, or simply that there is a better way to insert oneself into that world, virtually. To insert oneself into a world virtually, in essence, causes less pain upon the insertion or the extraction. That I will tell you as well. To insert one's thoughts, one's ideas into a virtual world allows one to remain in one's own world, if even that can be defined, and to express oneself still, almost completely, virtually whole, as it were, in the world in which one wishes to explore. In your time, you have now come to be knowing your computer simulated environments. This is what you call a virtual reality environment, and in many ways it can simulate a physical preference, a place of real world participation, but you think of it as an imaginary world because you are awake in the moment in which you insert or extract yourself, your icon, your avatar into these environments. For the most part, you do so for playcraft or warcraft, or to test your prowess, your intrigue, your knowledge, or what it were. It is play for you. Another virtual reality that you participate in is your virtual communities created by your social networking sites. And as you interact with these, you create as well families, friends, communities of interested beings, interested in certain thoughts or subjects or ideas or events. In one way or another, you wish to share virtually in that moment what you are thinking or feeling or doing or wishing to communicate. You wish to do so in the moment with all of those that are part of that social network or virtual community. Again, you do this for entertainment. You do this for play. There are certain boundaries that you pay attention to. There are certain orders or laws or principles that you abide by. Even so, you allow all of this to guide you. You agree to this. It becomes a mindset, a rule set, and it becomes the world that you participate in on a given time of day, on a given day of the week. And so we could say that it has become almost routine for you now to participate in one or more virtual worlds or virtual realities. Let us explore further then. If you are a being that in fact does participate in this way, again I ask you, how do you know, would you or could you know, that another being that is also very interested in this world and considers it play or intrigue or appreciates the certain boundaries, and here and there at certain times of a day or perhaps a lifetime from your standpoint, shares in the case that you then are the avatar or the iconic being for another? It is a question that you can toy with and yet see in this moment how bothered you become. What do you mean? What do you mean I may not be real? I am the one that plays in virtual realities. I am the one that decides what communities I will join or reject, what ideas I will consider or not, what experiences I will choose or not. It is I, the one with free will, the thinker of the thoughts. Well, are you certain that you are this? Are you certain you are the thinker of the thoughts, or are you simply the doer of the things? It is a well-put question. I put it to you lightly, so that you will consider it in the same way. Because the more lightly that you consider this question, the further that we may explore the subject. The earth, then, to remind you, is the celestial body, is the physical celestial body on an orbit or a journey around the sun. Along that journey, it encounters many different things, including other celestial bodies, and it has a relationship with these. Each one has a different idea. Each one is made of a different thought, a different substance. Each one exhibits different qualities. Each one has its own purpose, its own orbit, its own path, its own journey, all revolving around the sun, a star. The sun, then, is the idea, It is the main theme or the idea. It is the sun that governs the laws of this solar system. It is the sun that offers these laws to all of the celestial bodies, who then take the laws and uphold them, each individually and uniquely according to their own makeup. In turn, all of the celestial bodies reflect these laws in the way that they can and do, based upon their makeup and their journey, their orbit, their nearness to the sun, and their approximation to all of the other planets or celestial bodies, nearness to all of the other ideas, expressions, and then within each one they create not one, but a variety of different worlds, each one based upon ideas that are creative to its nature, ideas that then allow principles to describe the ideas, and in some ways to make many different worlds upon, within, and about that celestial body. Depending upon the ideas, the thoughts, and thought forms, which are simply denser ideas, a celestial body then dresses itself, much in the same way that you would dress yourself in a personality, and then later that personality would have perhaps, gender, of course, and many different roles to play and clothings to outfit these natures and adventures that it will go on. In the same way, a celestial body does the same way. It clothes itself, so that each celestial body has a physical and a non-physical nature, and again, based upon the laws. Another way to say law is to say creative nature or ability. The ability to create, or creationship, is another way to say laws or divine laws. You see, divine laws simply have to do with the nature of things. It is not the same way that humanity would describe a law as that which must be obeyed. And yet, in the same way, these laws cannot be broken. It is not that you can or may or maybe will get away with it once or twice. Universal laws, thematic universal laws, cannot be broken, for it would be impossible to do so. Based upon these laws, the celestial body dresses itself in many different worlds, and each world can then also, following the same theme and laws and principles, dress itself in many different realities or ideas or expressions of life and light. This is true of all celestial bodies, not necessarily just the earth. Gaia is extremely flattered of those that think that life could only truly be in certain planets of unique size and idea and proximity to the sun. But you see, these are only the laws that govern a very specific kind of biological life, as humanity describes itself. Only this kind of life requires this proximity to light and this expression, this kind of terror, the firmness of the earth. Now, if this is true of all of the celestial bodies in the solar system, each one abiding by their own relationship to sun or star or divinity and to the universal laws, each one then goes about creating many different ideas and worlds and realities. Worlds and then realities are also then subdivided into different dimensions, densities, and thought forms, and life forms to their ability to express within these ideas or to express creatively. For creativity, at least at some level, must be the premise. For creator is exactly that. Therefore, one of the laws then is that all things that emanate from the all or from the nothingness, which is the purity of light, must be creative or becoming creative or considering creative ideas or attempting to make or become some aspect of creativity. Now we are considering the earth again, reminding you that the earth is the celestial body, the physical earth that you see, and that there is a non-physical earth as well. For all things that are physical, there is indeed a non-physical counterpart. This is not its opposite, not at all. It is its complement. For instance, you have a thought and you have what the thought created. What the thought created is not its opposite. In fact, the thought created exactly what it wished to create. It created its complement in the physical. So the earth also has a thought form earth and a physical earth. Many times there are those that will say, well, you know, Gaia is going away now, or we are done with Gaia, or there is a new or next Gaia. Well, it is understood, sweet ones, where these thoughts come from, because indeed the non-physical earth or Gaia creates the new or the next world and reality, and the physical earth, as well as all of the others, follow. So it is not that Gaia is about to be replaced, and Gaia is not going anywhere. And yet, as all things evolve, as light touches them, smiles upon them, in fact, they evolve and they change and they change and they evolve. Now, if this is true of Gaia, it is also true of you. If Gaia is going somewhere or anywhere, you are as well, or together, or in the self, or the discovery, or the beingness. All of this goes by way of saying that the earth surrounds itself, includes a variety of different worlds. Now, of all of these different worlds, which are ideas, explorations, how would you say which world is either more important than another or more real than another? All of the different worlds and dimensions and densities, which one is more real? Well, the answer to that is truly simple. The world that is most real is the one that you put your awareness on. It is the one where you, what you are and who you are, it is the one that thinks that it is real. It is the one in which you feel most comfortable, most real, most excited about, most participating in. That is the real world. And all of the others, even if you were to realize them or recognize them, would seem to you to be less real. If we are considering then the virtual games again, you think that you are real, and when you dress yourself in your avatar, that you are at play. But when you do so, perhaps you may wish to consider that that avatar in that moment also considers itself very real. In fact, it may even consider itself connected to a higher power in those moments when you are placing your awareness upon it. Now there is an interesting thought. What about the moments in which you feel most aware, most connected to the earth or to humanity, most instinctively aware of heaven, as if you could touch the stars and know that you are part of it, of every teacher that you have ever known, of every thought you have ever considered, of every past and present and future memory, when it all begins to blend into oneness, those few moments where everything almost makes sense. Could it be that a being is placing its awareness upon and within you in that moment, so that in that moment you feel more real, more important than at any other moment? Why do these moments diminish then? Why would they simply go away? Why would you feel more connected in one moment than another? Well, there are a variety of reasons for this. But today I give you more cause to consider. When your beingness is most at cause. To be at cause means that it is most connected to the laws, the universal, the universality of all things. When you are at cause or as cause, you and all of the lineage of beings is all lined up. Now think to what you know of 2012 for a moment. Perhaps you have recognized, and it has been said to you, that in this moment all of the important planets are going to be lined up in such a way as to touch or be in line with the great central sun. Well, remember that earlier we have said that each one is an idea. Each one tells its own story, creates its own principles based on how individually and uniquely the laws are expressed. Each one receives, as it were, its own codes, its own instructions from the sun, and the sun receives its own from the great central sun at the core or center of this galaxy. To confound you further, can it not be that this sun, your local life-giving sun, is also but the avatar of the great central sun, which every so often imperfect and grand sequence pays attention to its sun, animating it, changing it, charging it, giving it instructions and frequencies, giving it life and empowering it as well, so that the sun does the same for all of the celestial bodies, including the earth. Can it be then that the earth is part of a system within a system, within a system, within a system? Can it be that the earth is virtually part of one system, which is virtually part of another, and so on? And can it be that your great soul essence, that great wisdom that you are, that knows and feels, can it be that your soul also has created so many different worlds to play in? And in essence, you are an avatar for your soul's essence. Why is it that you cannot remember all of your lifetimes, and yet your soul does? There are times when you feel more connected in this way again. And yet, all that I bring to you is not to say to you, look how small you are, how you are no more than a puppet or an avatar for a soul or a world. Oh no! It is in fact to trust you with great and potent information that you can use, particularly now. Know that I have guided these words saved these words, swallowed these words at times where I would have preferred to offer them to you completely, awaiting a moment such as this. In this moment, when the worlds are beginning to come together, and the realities are both creating themselves and uncreating themselves, you begin to see how worlds touch each other, how realities touch, beings and thoughts and ideas touch one another. And you are coming into this time then. You are coming into a time in which some will say, well, it is the great unraveling of all ideas. It was the time when everything fell apart. They will say later, oh, but others will write history differently. They will say it was the time in which we finally understood. We finally understood that it was not about us, me, I, or that it is finally about us, but we finally have a relationship to the all and to all other things and thoughts and beings. I bring this idea to you. I challenge you. I uplift you. I remind you that you are important in the idea that you are. Now, what happens, do you think, when an avatar, a beingness, a representation that exists in only one world, begins to awaken and to recognize that they belong to more than one world, and that yes, their ideas are guided by another, and somehow they must follow through on that as well, but that aside from that they have other ideas, new ideas, different thoughts that were not there before. No, they weren't. They were not there yesterday. And these new thoughts say, well, perhaps I am in one world and in another at the same time. Perhaps I am awake in one dream and participating in another reality. Perhaps I am aware of one world and the possibility of the next. This is the beginning that I wish to bring you to. Truth be told, you participate in several different worlds at once. But to many of these you are asleep to them. Try as you might, you could not remember them. It may seem to you as if it was a very unique dream sequence, but you could not return there on your own. What you are, then, is the animated beingness, the ideas come to life of a very great and potent beingness animated by your soul that is also very capable of animating your beingness in other worlds as well. You see, the earth is much more than what you see before you. It is much more than a celestial rock, even with its beauty, its jewels that it offers to you. It is much more than that, and there are many different worlds upon the earth. In the best of times, they touch each other, they overlay. Well, now they are bumping up against each other as well. And that is one of the reasons why the earth feels overcrowded now, why your thoughts, your minds feel overcrowded with too many thoughts and ideas to consider, and why you begin to consider the next world now as you do. Now, for those that do not consider the next world, you see they consider the end of this world, which is almost virtually the same thing. And so a world can be explored and explored and explored, and eventually you come to the end of the world. You have seen as much as you wish to see, created as much as you wish to create, investigated, explored, and like that. And because all things are creative, as we said, that the laws must be that above all things, so you begin to find the corridors and the doorways to the next world and the next reality, in which you will begin to feel more real and more realized. And so the discussion that we have today is an important one. It is a mature one. I have come to invite you into the next world. This invitation is not new, but because my words reach you in a certain way, and my voice and its frequency touches you both within and without, you will receive this invitation in a slightly different way. I am inviting you to become real elsewhere. In order to do so, you do not need to leave anything behind, not now, not yet. There will come a time where you will see how much presence is required here compared to elsewhere. At one point you left your studies behind. Your presence was not required there any longer. You had entered an adult phase of your life. It had other questions to be explored or answered. The same is true now. When it is said to you that you are on the cusp of a new age, what does this mean? It is not simply that the calendars will adjust themselves slightly, or that the stars will appear slightly different in the sky in their position. All of this is true, but is relatively true to you, to your thoughts and to your ideas, to your community, to how you express yourself. So, you are virtually there now, because the mind is already now capable of exploring this thought, this concept. The concept has been with you already long enough. You see that in your own play, in your own experiences, you have created virtual science, and you continue to improve upon it. If it were only a toy, if it were only for play, you would improve upon it, but there is more that is taking place here. You are moving in sync with it now. It is becoming more like you, and you are becoming more like it. It is becoming easier to be a virtual being in this land, or in that world, or for that purpose. As you begin to explore all of the virtual thoughts and ideas relative to your play and your entertainment, something will begin to happen. You will begin to have new thoughts and ideas. At first you will say, well, it is only because I was at play and feeling so much lighter than I do at work. I was relaxed. I was creative. I was having fun with my friends. Well, yes, and so be it. And more than that as well. It is that when you allow yourself to be the virtual thing or thought that you are, something within you that knows how to create this idea, live with this idea, be comfortable with this idea, begins to enact it, begins to create other ways by which you might have a virtual experience. So it becomes not simply a play thing or a play idea, but something that you can carry into other aspects. Now, those who play at war, for instance, they also have their virtual games. Those that play at war strategy, they play in a virtual environment, and yet somewhere something flies or shares itself or spies or bombs or what it does, because someone is at play in a virtual world or environment. And so it already is moving into a variety of different environments for you. Other expressions of this environment would allow those to explore medical sciences and how to more quickly find the root or the wrong of the matter with a physical body. Imagine that en route from the ambulance to the hospital, a doctor could already be virtually at work on that body, knowing that time is of the essence, and that body, understanding the virtual process, would begin to heal itself, or at the very least respond to what was taking place. Bodies will, some instances, be able to rejuvenate themselves. This will not apply to all, because this is a very strong belief system, whether one ages or rejuvenates or is able to restore their youth. Youth is stored in a very interesting place within you, a few layers down. And so while one may be able to restore an organ of the body to functioning, a near impossible feat as that would be, it is much more difficult to communicate to the cells, to restore their youthful expression. That is a very interesting anomaly, one that we may explore at another time. Virtual worlds and virtual realities will allow you to plan, to know, to discover. In essence, you will become your own avatar, your own creation. You will enter your own creationship, your own being, your own virtual reality. That is the play of the now time. This is the now and the next world that you are creating. I ask you to consider that several races upon the earth, several cultures that seemed to you to disappear, it is not that they were necessarily lifted off the earth, or that they physically went into the earth. The word transmuted has many different ways in which it can express itself. A transmutational force or wave can absorb its representation or its avatar and replace it, place it elsewhere into the next world or the next idea. I ask you to consider that you exist in this world because this world exists. You exist as you are because something that knows what you are makes room and play and decision in this world for you to express yourself in the many ways that you do. And now that you are becoming aware of that, of the virtualness of that, the next world is only a step away. It is a thought away. In this case, a virtual thought. You have heard in many of your circles and instructions and from your teachers to awaken. Awaken, become more aware, to bring yourself forward. Aware and awake in the dream, in the experience. Well, that is exactly what you are doing now. You are waking up, and more quickly. Now, as you continue to do so, I ask you, propose to you, that you continue to look at all things and decide it is real, it is not real. Not choose, In fact, if you must, choose both, for you do have choice. If you will decide in choice, then I will suggest that you choose not either or, but either or and, this and that and more. I am this and that and more. I am here and there and ready, or at the doorway, or on the threshold. Be ready for the next world to begin to reveal itself to you. It goes faster, easier, the change, as it were. It goes easier and simpler the more aware and awake that you are. You do not need to shock yourself into awakening to newer truths or realities. And yet I tell you again, they are real because or if you believe that they are real. You are real or realized within them the more that you recognize it. You are real when you think of yourself. You are realized when you are aware of or observant of the what that you are. When from above you could look upon yourself, that is a form of self-realization. Now, if you can, in fact, stand a foot above yourself, in front of yourself, look at yourself, who or what is looking, and who or what is looking at who or what, which is the real one. How is it, in fact, so simple for you to take your awareness a few inches or a few feet away and look at yourself? You see, who or what is the avatar or the placeholder or the being. Who or what is real. You live in a virtual world. There are many, many virtual worlds, thinly layered and landscaped about each other. Layers within layers, worlds within worlds, of which this one that you are living in now is a part. And this one is now beginning to align with others. Imagine all of the doorways aligning, so that what you will have before you is a corridor. The further and faster you walk through and down that corridor, the more advantage to many worlds you will have. The slower your pace, or the more dense it is, or the less awake you are as you do so, the less the choices that you will have, but still some. I offer these thoughts to you, for the world is virtually complete now. This world, this reality that you have been living in, it is virtually complete. And the next one, the one that you are moving to and toward, it is nearly or virtually complete as well. And so I ask you to consider this world, your world, any world, as possibilities where thought expresses itself uniquely based upon the journey of the celestial bodies round the sun. That each one with their own journey, their own undertaking, their own creativity and their own expression of light makes from the densest worlds to the lightest worlds, from those that have physical beings in them to those that are pure thought or expression, and that in truth what you are is all of this, all of it. And yet your awareness, your beliefs, your structuredness is arranged now so that it is here in this world, or so believes. Because you believe that this is where you are, you believe that you know where you are going. And so the next going place is about to present itself to you. between what is real and what is imaginary is that which is a virtual gallery of light and creativity. The imagination is what reality uses to create in. In essence, the virtual being, the avatar, uses an imagination. The real being, or the one that is itself and the avatar, uses what it calls reality to think or to create or to live in. This is what it calls free will, the ability to choose or decide. The avatar does not have as much choice, not yet. It is still very tethered to the being, to the on and off switch, to you playing the game when you turn it on or turn it off. And yet I ask you to begin to see the layers and multi-layers of creative identity, of what you are, of the wisdom that you are, because the next and the new worlds await. Indeed, sweet ones, I await as well, always bringing you a pearl, always to challenge but slightly, to uplift but always. Carry you I will, walk next to you I prefer. I bid you good day.